Do you remember when you first played Halo Combat Evolved? Do you remember experiencing Destiny for the first time? How about dropping into Titanfall or Apex Legends for the very first time? The aforementioned Bungie games and Respawn Entertainment games all have different elements in common with the Marathon we have today. Marathon is an extraction shooter that has so far been trashed and praised for all kinds of things. Most of the hate stems from disgruntled Destiny 2 players. I think Marathon plays a lot like a combination of Destiny, Apex, and Titanfall. The reason I say that is because it does three things really well: story, gunplay, and the overall gameplay loop. Marathon is really good at building an atmosphere, a world, a lore, and a history, even if you're not exactly experiencing that history firsthand.
No sign of the fungal growth from algae pond 3, so the novel contagion hasn't spread here. Yet. The filters require a temporary shutdown and pond 3 is already offline. That brings us down to 30% below our food quota.
Bungie has always been able to build a deep and rich narrative in a world, and you experience it after most of it has happened. That's something that Marathon does just as well as Destiny or Halo. Bungie really knows how to create a narrative. They know how to create a world and an atmosphere and a feeling. Whether you're playing with randoms or friends or solo, Marathon is a very oppressive, lonely feeling game, a lonely feeling world. Marathon asks you to hop in to a battle royale-like world if you want to look at it from that kind of narrow perspective. You go in there and you're trying to survive. You have an allotted amount of time and you got to extract before it all ends. During this time, you're searching, you're doing contracts, and as you do these contracts, this narrative and this story unfolds. You get bits and bobs and pieces of lore and world building. You get to learn about characters and factions. What exactly happened on Tau Ceti IV 100 years after the original Marathon games?
Tau Ceti's agricultural facilities sit empty. Our proprietary technology gathers rust on the planet's surface, corroded and forgotten. What became of those brave souls who called this place their home? I have a hypothesis about their disappearance, but it requires verification.
This game is directly connected with those original games. Several people who actually worked on Marathon, Halo, and even Destiny still work at Bungie and are still involved in this game. In Marathon, Tau Ceti IV has gone dark. The colony overrun by hostile forces, and you're allowed to explore, scavenge, and survive, like I said. You're trying to piece it all together. Whether you're fighting the ticks, exploring corrupted, overrun, and contaminated locations, exploring homes, buildings, and research facilities long forgotten, long abandoned. There's not even really blood anywhere. There's maybe a little bit speckled here or there. The remnants of players gone by, the remnants of players defeated at the hands of the UESC. The UESC bots, and even this kind of cosmic feeling around the events unraveling throughout your playtime in any of the many maps that you can play. Whether it's the outer perimeter of Tau Ceti IV, the Dire Marsh, the UESC outpost, or even the recently released Cryo Archive that takes place on the Marathon ship itself. The variety in locations, environments, visuals, it's a very unique looking game visually. Overall, I think, if anything, Bungie truly accomplished something extremely original. Originality seeps through at every seam of this game and the overall experience. Marathon tells a very unorthodox story. It tells a narrative and it unravels a world in a way that I think is reminiscent to the original Titanfall. The original Titanfall was an online-only game, much like this. It had a campaign where you dropped into normal matches, but the story was unraveling while you were playing. And you were the grunts, you were the people on the ground. You got to see the events and the interesting stuff happening above you, above the battlefield. Maybe it wasn't done extremely well, but I think that it does something really cool, and I think Marathon really builds upon that. Destiny is a game that took Bungie's knack for dark sci-fi and good gunplay and really pushed it forward into this MMO-light kind of way. It made MMOs cool, in my opinion. It's still one of my favorite MMOs, especially Destiny 1. Destiny 2 was really good for quite a good while, but it eventually outlived its better days. Destiny 2 shouldn't still be going. We should have Destiny 3 by now. But we have Marathon, and I think that it works just as well. Marathon is another evolution of Bungie's game design, Bungie's fundamental principles. It's an evolution of their gunplay, of their storytelling, and it's done in a way that is able to keep them afloat and not just have Destiny be their life raft. Yes, it is done in a way that makes it a game as a service, but it is a full game. I will argue that point to a fault. It is a full game. It is an extraction shooter, and it does have a really, really cool narrative. It may be a narrative that's told in a very unorthodox way, but it is a very cool narrative. A corporate world thrown into a dystopia. It's dark and it's gritty, and somehow the world is really far in the future, around 100 years after the original games. It's a weird future. It's kind of colorful and vibrant, but it's dark, very dark, right under that colorful layer. Behind every ounce of color is something much darker. Whether it's thematically, mechanically, or in just the overall gameplay loop. You play as shells. Everything in this world is 3D printed. The shells are 3D printed. You're taking consciousness and putting it into empty shells. So they mean nothing. They mean nothing to you. They mean nothing to the corporations. They mean nothing to anybody. And what's the morality behind that? What does that mean? How much is left over when you die over and over and over again? And how little does death mean when you can just keep coming back? When you're used as a pawn in a corporate game? Bungie continues to have some of the smoothest, slickest, best feeling gunplay ever. Destiny felt great, Halo was always great, and Marathon feels amazing, and they improve fully on what they did with Destiny 1 and 2. This game may be competitive, but it's also fun solo. It's fun to fight people, it's fun to dive into that PvP and the PvE. But you know when you get into firefights with the AI enemies, the UESC bots, and you're doing these contracts, you know that you're going to attract the attention of real players. So you gotta be constantly in motion, you gotta be constantly going. And I think one of the number one things that really solidifies this gameplay loop is, out of every extraction shooter out there, Marathon really wants you to understand that your shell doesn't matter and your gear doesn't matter. Marathon is not about keeping the coolest gear. Just like every other extraction shooter like this, every so many months they're gonna wipe everything. But unlike a lot of those games, you get cool loot all the time. Whether it's from other players, whether it's stuff that you get from contracts, you get from sponsored gear, stuff that you buy, it doesn't matter. You get an abundance of things, and you're going to lose them as quickly as you get them sometimes. And sometimes you're going to keep them for a long time. You're going to build this relationship with your gear, with your setup, with your build, with your weapons. You're like, yes, it's perfect. Everything is working in correlation with each other. Everything is perfect. And then you're going to die. And then you're going to lose it all. And in that moment, it takes this connection that everyone has with things. Everyone doesn't want to lose their game collection. Nobody wants to lose their game collection. Nobody wants to let go of things. Marathon teaches you to let go of everything. Whether you're playing the Rook, where you're not allowed to do contracts, you come into a game that is already in motion. You're just a scavenger. You're a rat just trying to get things and get out. Whether you're playing as any of the other classes, working with people, or playing solo, you're doing contracts. You're doing objectives. You're helping other people, and those people are helping you. More times than not, meeting another player will end in violence. But sometimes that's not the case. But there are corporations who want you to fight, and others who want answers. Maybe you do too. But whether you die, whether you win, whether you extract, whether you complete contracts, no matter what you do, you're unraveling a narrative. You're uncovering a story. You're solving a mystery. And you're answering unanswered questions. You're digging into a mythos, into a universe, a lore. You're opening up the dusty book and you're figuring out so many things. You're meeting characters. You're hearing audio logs and you're just soaking in this just drenched, amazing atmosphere and world building. You're walking slowly through a building, walking through the curtains, opening the doors, crawling through vents, sneaking around other players. Maybe you're confronting those players. Maybe you're hiding in a corner. Maybe you're charging into the action, fighting bots on the outskirts, diving straight into the water. No matter what you're doing, it all feels very oppressive, very weird. It's atmospheric. It's the music, the score, sense of loneliness, the cosmic dread of it all it's intense. It's unlike anything. And I can really say that Marathon has hooked me in a way that I never, ever would have expected. It has the draw of a survival game. It has the addicting, almost gambling-like loop of a battle royale. But once you disconnect from the idea of having to keep everything, or that anything that you get matters, the only thing that matters is figuring out this narrative and this story and getting lost in the world. Everything outside of that is finite. Everything outside of that is expendable. Your shell is expendable. Much like the intro into Destiny or Combat Evolved, Marathon's intro tutorial really sticks with you. The loading screens, all the conversations with the other factions and other characters really stays with you, in my opinion. The game is utterly fascinating. It's engrossing, and it's something that has me thinking about it while I'm doing other things. I'm playing other games and making other videos, and it just has me thinking about Marathon. Has me thinking about jumping into another match, trying to extract, whether or not I'm going to lose all this cool stuff that I have. But also that it doesn't really matter, because that gunplay is so good, so smooth, and the movement and the way the abilities work together, that even if you lose all that cool stuff, that next basic weapon that you get is going to feel really good. Low level and high level stuff. The higher level with extra things, yeah, it feels a little bit better, but the guns, no matter how basic, feel great at all times. Your sidearms, your knife, it's great. It's not pay to win, everything's cosmetic, and when everything gets wiped, you keep your contract progress, your faction progress, and you keep your codex progress. This is all designed so that the game stays dangerous, weapons stay meaningful, and you never feel behind the curve. No matter if you're just hopping in a later season, right before the wipe, or even right after a wipe. Everybody's going to feel like they're on the same page no matter what. Whether you're diving into the cryo archives once you reach a higher profile level, and you're going for that almost raid-like level, that raid-like map and objective. There's so much there, there's so much to uncover, and the already use of ARG storytelling and having people work together to accomplish these tasks. It sends me back to the days of Destiny lore. It sends me back to the days of people figuring out Easter eggs in Call of Duty Zombies. I think that Marathon has some long legs on it. I think Marathon has a chance to really stand out. Arc Raiders is very, very open and friendly for everyone to really get along and do different things together. Things like Hunt Showdown and Escape from Tarkov are extremely competitive, unfriendly, and not very good for people just hopping in for the first time who haven't been playing it since the very beginning. The first extraction shooter-related thing I ever played was the Dark Zones of Division 1 and 2. And it was a concept I liked back then, and I just never dipped my toes in ever again. But Marathon's got me hooked, and I'm glad I started with Marathon and I didn't start with Arc Raiders or anything else. I say that because Marathon is so original. I'm glad that it keeps a little bit of the spirit of the originals while doing its own thing. I'm glad it continues to push what Bungie is good at when it comes to building a world, an atmosphere, a lore, a history, as well as good gunplay, gameplay loop. I'm glad that they're continuing in a direction that improves on what they did with Destiny, especially the original. I can't wait to see something more single player from them, hopefully one day. I hope that PlayStation allows them that opportunity, and I hope that Marathon and Destiny 2 continue doing well so I can get to see more of what Bungie is capable of even in a single player space. I think there's plenty of people like myself who would like to see that. But for now, Marathon is a good place to get your Bungie fix. It is a good place to experience a seemingly bright, full of life world that's actually drenched in darkness. A world long forgotten, a world full of cosmic dread, tension, and something that can almost rival a horror game at times when you're dealing with corrupted zones, what lies in the darkness, other players, footsteps, the UESC bots, red eyes in the dark. It's rare that a game has an oppressive enough atmosphere in a world that really, really makes you think and creeps you out even if you know there's nothing there. Few games do that well, but I think it does hit a similar level to the likes of Metro, Stalker, and Atomfall in that way. The atmosphere is thick, and I think it's worth experiencing, whether you do it solo or with other players, whether you do it with randoms and what comes with that, or play with friends, whether you hop in every now and then or not. The game is really good for short bursts. The max time you're going to get out of one match is about 25 minutes. But depending on your contracts, your team, and how you choose to play, it can be a lot less. It's really up to you at the end of the day. Stay on your toes, be smart, have a blast, and kick some ass. I'd like to thank Midnight Medium, Osh, Melancholy Geek, and John David for all the love and support. If you'd like to join the cult of the Forge and become a cultist yourself, head on over to Patreon, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down below, and tell me what you think about Marathon, Marathon of the past, and Marathon of the present. What do you think about the future of Marathon and Bungie? Let me know what your favorite extraction shooter is. And until next time, the Forge is calling, and I must answer. So I'll see you all when the next video has been forged. Good night, and good luck.
We are not alone. I hear it. It waits, lingers, loathes.